In honor of the Lunar New Year, I think the time has come for us to redo our vision boards. And if you didn't make a vision board, then it's time for us to make a vision board. But we're not going to do it the cheesy, the annoying, the way that doesn't work. We're going to do it in a way that's actually going to be effective. Okay, so step one for redoing our vision boards is we're going to pull out our New Year's resolutions. So pull out whatever your goals were. Now, I did mine a little bit different. So the way that I did mine, and I'm actually going to take out my phone because I have it all written down. So I'm going to go through this exercise kind of in real time. Let's see. Where the fuck did I write this? Okay. So what I did was I I did this whole journaling exercise. You know what? I'll actually read you all of it. It's based on Sif Hyder's podcast, the Dream Bigger podcast. I think Sif Hyder is the founder of Array, which makes the best bloat capsule ever. And they actually came out with an inositol powder that I'm also obsessed with. Anyway, so she did this podcast episode that I listened to, and I kind of wrote down all of the questions in it. So this really is almost verbatim what was in her podcast, but this is the actual New Year's Eve journaling exercise that I did. So question number one, list all of the things in your life that are currently bringing you joy. Get specific. It could be as simple as my evening walks or listening to your favorite band or whatever. Number two, if you could wave a magic wand and change anything in your life, what would it be? Get really specific and granular. Number three, from the list in number two, pick three that you want to change and list why. Number four, it's December 31st, 2026. Now, you can pick whatever date. You can pick a day, a month from now, a year from, whatever. Just pick a date. List all you have accomplished. Feel free to dream as big as you can. You don't need to be realistic. Number five, rank each area in your life from 1 to 10. List what went well and what has not gone well in each of these areas. So the areas are career, health, physical space, which is your home, the city you live in, whatever, romantic relationships, friendships, family, money, personal development, fun, and the last category is connection to self/higher power. Question number six, pick three of those areas that you want to improve upon. Question number seven, for each of these three areas, write out what your ideal/dream scenario would be. Question number eight, condense that down to three big goals for 2026, one for each of those areas. Question number nine, set goals for each quarter in 2026. And then for Q1, I wrote out monthly goals. So January, February, and March, I wrote out goals for each of those. And then I figured after Q1, I'll revisit and write out monthly goals for Q2 and so on. And then for January, I wrote out specific daily and weekly habits. I also wrote out a full day schedule with timestamps so that I actually schedule in my habits. And I figured at the end of January, I would reevaluate and write out daily and weekly goals for February, yada, yada, yada. And then based on all that, I made a vision board. Now, let me backtrack a little bit because this is really important. So I didn't reevaluate at the end of January because I was just busy. I think Sam was sick. So I figured I would just hold off to the Lunar New Year. So basically what I'm doing now is I'm looking at my three big goals that I wrote out for 2026. And I'm also looking at what I wrote down for January, which, you know what? I do have it on my phone. Okay. So the three main goals that I wrote for this year are a specific follower number, which is pretty ambitious, and I don't know that I'll necessarily hit it, but I figured like I'd aim high. Number 2 is just to like really heal my relationship with food and body image. And number 3, I just wrote quiet luxury, but by that, what I really mean is I really want to declutter. I really want to have like a very organized, refined, beautiful home. Like I want to have more elevated pieces in my closet, but fewer things. And I've actually done quite a bit on moving towards this goal. But let's look at my January breakdown. So I wrote out this like full daily schedule, right? And I also wrote out habits, which I have not even looked at once. So the habits I wrote were act on inspiration within 2 hours, chew more, refine and define, blah, blah, blah. Okay, a few things. I've actually hit some of these. And then I made a vision board also. So I made a little folder on my phone where I put my vision board, I put my habits in a very like aesthetically pleasing way, and I put my like time block day schedule, which I've not abided by at all. I put those 3 in a folder, and then I had it be so that my vision board is the background on my phone. And then I had like a photos widget on the top of my phone where I have that folder synced to it. So one of those 3 pops up. Now, I never looked at those habits as we just established because I haven't done any of them, quite frankly. But basically, step 1 of this process is you want to look at your goals for the year or goals for the month, or like for me, I'm going to look both at the goals for the year and also the habits that I said I would implement in January and be like, okay, like what have I made movement towards? Like what like January goals have I hit? What have I not hit? Like why, if I haven't hit something, like why have I not hit it? Like if I haven't like made any progress towards the goals for the year, which I actually can say I've made a tremendous amount of progress towards all 3 of my goals, the latter 2 especially. But like a lot of my January habits, like one thing is like I wanted to do a 12-hour phone fast every single day. I mostly have not done that. I don't think I've done that once. And so then you want to reassess. This is actually a good example to use. So if there's something like a habit or goal that like either you've made no progress towards or you just haven't hit at all, it's a really good time to take inventory and be like, okay, why? And part of this question is that goal actually aligned? Like, is that actually something you should strive for or not? And I'll give a really good example. So for years and years and years, like through my late teens and all of my 20s, every single year I'd set a New Year's resolution of running, of starting to run. In a few years, I like maybe would like go running once and then stop. And finally, I think when I turned 30, I was like, enough. Like, clearly, I'm just not doing this. Why is this a goal that I set every single year and I never actually make any movement towards it? And I really sat and I unpacked it and I was like, okay, what I really want is like a runner's body, right? Like runners have the best fucking bodies. Like they are so snatched and so athletic. And I also love the idea of having something where like if you're stressed or if you're in like, I love the way runners talk about running and like their experience with running and how it clears their mind and stuff. And I also love the accessibility of running. Like I love that like all you need is sneakers, really. Like you don't need any equipment. You can do it anywhere, anytime. You're outside, like you're seeing things. Like that's amazing, right? All of those things are so appealing. But when I turned 30, I was like, okay, I'm like getting older and like my knees are only getting weaker. Like I haven't started doing this yet. Like how realistic is it that I'm actually going to do this? And is there something else I can do to like meet like fitness and aesthetic goals, but also like have that like mental release thing, right? And I found that I could accomplish that through other ways versus the phone fast. Like, why did I want to do the 12-hour phone fast? Well, I talked about it in the first episode of this year. I talked about like that concept of space and creating more space in my life. And I think not being on my phone as much will allow me to have a lot more space to think about things, to have ideas come through. I think it would help with like anxiety, reducing blue light. Another thing I've noticed is the more I'm on my phone, the slower I do everything, right? Especially if I'm on TikTok. Like sometimes I'm like, ooh, let me just like scroll TikTok while I brush my teeth. Like it takes longer. Like everything I do just becomes slower. And if I'm trying to accomplish a lot, then like being on my phone all the time really is not conducive to getting that done. So even though I haven't actually started this 12-hour phone fast at all, like I haven't done it once this year, I don't think that this is a goal that I should abandon. I actually do think it's really aligned with the things I want to do. Chew more. It's kind of vague, but like, yeah, I probably should be chewing more. I just like honestly fucking like forgot. But then some of the things, like when I look at like my daily schedule, it's like filming every time I prep dinner, filming every time I eat, like film, like all these things. It's like, I don't know that I need to be doing that. Like that just seems like a good recipe for burnout. And I think that there are ways that I could be like really consistent with posting in order to accomplish a lot of my goals without having to film like every single time I make something or every single time I eat. Like this actually daily schedule I made for myself has like completely gone out the window. I have changed the time that I go to solid core so that I could get more sleep. Best decision of my life. I am actually currently not doing morning pages anymore. So like that's out the window. I don't even take Sam outside to pee anymore. Like all these things have changed. These circumstances have changed. So a lot of these things don't quite align anymore. So again, you want to really go back and look at like what were your overall goals for the year? And if you never did overall goals for the year, I really do think that journaling exercise that I had is a really good way to figure out what your goals should be. And maybe they don't even have to be for the year. Maybe they could just be for the next month, because spoiler alert, I think we're going to revisit a lot of the stuff next month, leading up for the spring equinox, which is also Persian New Year. So we're starting now with the Lunar New Year / Chinese New Year, and then we're going to revisit this with Persian New Year. We're just going to do a little like United Nations of New Year's here. Okay, and that brings us to the actual vision board. So here's what I recommend doing. Go through your screenshots, go through social media, go through Pinterest, go through all these places and save things, and asterisks because we're going to come back to the things that you save. And then I went to Canva and I made a 9x16 vision board that I then made my iPhone background so that I could look at it over and over and over again, so that every time I reach my phone, which as we've established is happening more often than it should be, I'm reminded of my vision board. But I really think it's important to redo this exercise every month or so, because like the first few times that you see it, it's going to be so exciting, but then it's going to lose its luster and you're not even going to really notice it anymore. So I think freshening it up constantly is actually really important so that your brain actually notices it and registers it. But now let's go to what kind of things should be on your vision board. So I think it's like one thing that's really good to put on your vision board are things that have already happened that you want more of. So I screenshotted certain like DMs that I've gotten from people that are like, oh my God, like this episode really changed my life, or like, you know, this thing, like this recipe of yours was so good, or just like watching your stories makes me so happy, stuff like that. Like that's like all I really truly want is for people to feel seen. Like that really is the goal of the content that I put out. Even like the recipes, it's like, I want you to feel like we're hanging out, you know, like I want you to feel like we're having fun. So like when I get DMs like that, it's like, that's exactly what I want more of. Or the other day I got an email with the largest paycheck. I say paycheck. I mean, it's not a check. It's a direct deposit that I've gotten from the podcast so far. And that's still like way less than I wish it was. It's way less than Sam's medical bills, you know, but it's the biggest one I've gotten so far. So I screenshotted that. So I'm probably going to add that to my vision board. I'm going to do the vision board tonight, by the way, like as soon as I'm done here. Actually, as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to edit this and upload it because I'm doing it like the night before. I actually love doing the blush dish episodes as close to air date as possible because I feel like we get to have like a real nice chat together, you know? Anyway, so like stuff that's already happened that you want more of. Like, let's say if you're in school and you're aiming for like straight A's or something, maybe like you screenshot like a really good report card that you got or whatever it may be, right? Things that have happened that you want more of. And then I think that what's far more effective, like usually we put these like things on our vision board that we want, right? Like it's like a house in Malibu or like, I don't know, like a BMW or whatever it may be, or this like really hunky partner or something. I think that's well and good. And I think you can do a little bit of that for sure, like no problem at all. But what I think you should focus on far more is having pictures that represent the things that you need to do in order to get the things that you want. For example, if let's say you want a six-pack, let's just say, because this is like an easy example to use, rather than putting a photo of someone with a six-pack on your vision board, I think it would be far more useful to have photos of like really like healthy foods and photos of exercise and things like that to remind you of the things that you need to be doing in order to get the thing. Because I think you could sit and look at a six pack all day long, but your brain's going to be like, okay, like, yeah, like give me the six pack, you know? Whereas if you look at photos of like doing the things that you need to do in order to get there, I think that's going to be far more useful. And I'm going to focus on that far more in redoing my vision board tonight. And another thing that I think is really, really useful is actually like using photos that like either are of you in certain scenarios or could be you. So for example, let's say like it's me, right? And I have dark hair and stuff, right? And let's go back to the six pack example. And I'm like, okay, so like I need to start exercising more. Let's say, by the way, these are not goals of mine. I just think it's a really easy example to use. So rather than having a photo of like a hot blonde at the gym, which like very clearly isn't me, I think it would be far more conducive to either have a photo of me at the gym or have a photo where like maybe there's no face and it looks like it could be me, like something that's believably me, or even have AI render something that is me. So like you actually see yourself in it. I think that that could be a really useful touch on the vision board. Also, another thing that I did for my original vision board that I really recommend is I made a whole mood board for the year on Pinterest, which, by the way, I've been loving Pinterest. Like, I don't think people talk enough about how fucking good Pinterest is. Anyway, I made a whole mood board for the year, and then I picked a few of my favorite photos and I downloaded them and I brought them into Canva for my vision board. Also, if you want my vision board template on Canva, I'm happy to send it to you. I think that that's a really useful way to do it too. Because like a lot of the things on Pinterest, like they're not really, it's hard to explain, but it's like for example, like some of the things on my mood board are just like swatches of like shades of brown. Like that's not a particularly useful thing to put on my vision board, but I know why it's in my mood board. Like I know the vibe I'm trying to evoke. It's that very like quiet luxury chic thing that I was going for. Does that make sense? Okay, I think that that's everything. Let me just like check my notes and make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, I actually cannot wait to redo this. I'm literally about to go do it like right this second. Blah, blah. Oh, that's so funny. Like my notes made no sense because it had some of the stuff from last month. So yeah, basically like what you really want to do is revisit your intentions, set monthly goals or set goals for like this next month because we're going to kind of redo this exercise but slightly different. I'm going to incorporate like listen, Lunar New Year is not my holiday. Like it's not like I can't like speak on it. And even if I did research, it's like kind of like culturally insensitive for me as a non-Asian person to be like, oh, let me make all this content on Lunar New Year versus Persian New Year. That is my wheelhouse. So we're going to pull in some like mysticism and rituals and stuff from Persian culture when we redo all this next month. So it is going to be a little bit different, but nevertheless, I think the aim for right now, like, yeah, you can set goals for the whole year, but really break down your goals into tangible things that you can accomplish. And like, for example, my chew more, that's not very tangible, you know? I need to come up with like a more tangible version of this because that's why it didn't get done. Like, what is chew more? Like, I guess I could set a specific number, but also I'm not going to like sit around and count how many times I'm chewing all the time. Like, that's not really a good use of my time and like a great way for me to live my life, you know? But I'm going to really revisit these goals and come up with like more tangible ways, more concrete, specific things that I want to hit, like specific content goals. I loved like that idea of like act on inspiration within 2 hours. Obviously, I completely forgot about it, but like I love that idea. I don't know how realistic it is. For example, I had a recipe idea last night when I was in bed. I wasn't going to like whip out of bed and do it in the middle of the night. And also I had something else scheduled to film today. So like I have to play with all these things. You know what I mean? Nevertheless, I do think that this is a great time to revisit our goals and come up with some really concrete goals for the next month and then create aesthetically pleasing things that we can look at constantly and just constantly remind our brains of what we should be doing. Because last thing, regardless of what your views are on manifestation, I can tell you something right now. There is no amount of visualizing getting something that's going to make you get it. Like, I really genuinely believe that. I don't think that things just come to us. I think we have to take the right actions towards them. And so focusing on the actions that you need to take, focusing on the habits that you need to incorporate is where it's at. So use your vision board as a primer, as a reminder of the actions that you need to take to get there. Okay, I think that's it. Also, if one of your goals is to like eat healthier or just like feel better in your body or whatever it may be, I highly recommend checking out Thursday's Blush Kitchen. It is this meal prep system that I came up with called the 654-321 meal prep system. I invented it. I think it's like the best way to meal prep. It lets you have healthy meals on the table in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes max, like mostly like literally 5 minutes. But unlike traditional meal prep, you actually get a variety of foods. It's like, it is the best hack for eating healthy and like being really satisfied with your food that I could ever fucking come up with. I think you're really gonna love it. Definitely go check it out. Okay, love you. We'll chat next week. Bye.